This is my first workforce ready for 2026. So happy new year to everyone. If this is your first time joining us, thank you. Make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you share. My name is Nabi Henacha, and I am the founder and lead faculty at NSTAR Technologies. And Workforce Ready is a platform where we have conversations around, what it takes to make that transition into a career in information technology. I give you all of the gist, all of the skills, resources, and everything that is required for you to be successful. And I'm doing this from my own personal experiences. And so every week we tackle very relevant topics either pertaining to the job itself or steps, in the process of making that transition into a world of information technology. And in 2026, I want to make sure I work with as many people and see as many of you win in this career change journey. I want to work and I want to see as many people as possible win this year. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being with me. And if you have been watching since last year when we started, make sure you drop in the chat. I say Happy New Year. I want to say hello to you. All right, I want to start by saying the reason most people don't land a high paying job in tech is not because they can't learn SQL, which is what I teach, or Agile, or any of the fancy, tech platforms or skills out there. A lot of the time, it is just because they don't believe they belong in tech, right? And that's what I want to address. My topic today is the opportunity gap, right? The 2026 opportunity gap. Why the biggest barrier to a 100K tech job is not coding, it's your belief system. Right. So a lot of people just believe they don't belong. They believe it's an exclusive preserve for a specific group of people. Right. You see people when you hear someone does programming or development or they work in tech, a lot of the time people come with the reaction, wow, you must be super smart. And while that is true and there's a level of intelligence required to do what we do on a daily basis, it honestly is something that can be taught, developed, and with the evolution of technology, some of the coding things, the coding related roles, jobs that are very coding heavy are shifting from that. There's a lot of no code tech opportunities today. So there's an opportunity in 2026, right? But it starts with I belong, I can do this. That's the first thing. If you don't believe you can, it's going to be impossible for you to make that transition, regardless of who is your mentor trying to take you through the journey or what resources you're consuming. And so my goal is by the end of this session, I want everyone to understand what's really holding them back and how to shift it. Right. So let's talk about this opportunity gap. What exactly is this? Right. When I talk about the opportunity gap for 2026, it's not being coding. Right. And I want to explain the difference between, skill gaps. People think that's what the problem is. I can't write SQL. I can't write Java. I can't do HTML. I can't, so I can't get into website development. I can't do UI UX. You don't have all the fancy skills. You hear things like .NET and C Sharp, all of those things. And you tell yourself, I don't have the skills. I don't have SQL skills. I can't write any scripts. I can't do any coding. I don't feel like I can learn it. And so I am not qualified. And what you are saying and what you are seeing right now from the language I'm using is all of those quote unquote skill gaps is more a belief gap. That is what we call limiting beliefs, right? It's what's restricting you from taking action. I bet you if you look in your circle, you have seen somebody who you're probably smarter than, who has made this leap into a career in information technology. There's a lot of people online who are talking tech today and hang their hats on being tech bros and, tech professionals and have started building up years of experience. And if you look at their background, they have no tech in there. There's no tech degree, some no degree at all, but they've taken the leap and they figured it out. And now they're earning, they're working and building a career in tech. Right. And so a lot of times we have this belief like I am not technical. I don't have the tech skills. Right. And that's a common belief, a common, limiting belief that we have. Another one is I'm too late. I'm late to the game. This is a young man's game. This is a young kid's game, right? I'm too old. I'm a little older now. I don't think I can get into it. I don't think I can start to learn anything new. And that is so untrue. Someone else might be saying, hey, people like me don't get into tech. Maybe because of your background, maybe because you're an immigrant, you sound a certain way and you feel like I don't think it's for me or people like myself. And that's crazy to think that you're disqualifying yourself even before you make an attempt, right? I have been, in this career changing space for a while now. We launched NSTAR Technologies almost 10 years ago, and we have been working with students, helping them get into careers in information technology. And in all those years, I have worked with several students. I've worked with people from every background: non-tech, marketing, accounting, people who are coming from business, new immigrants who come from completely a different set of skills and background, and figured, hey, you know what, I feel like this is the place I want to be, and I want to maximize the opportunity to make a career change in this new place that I found myself. And I have seen people put in the work and go make a change and go become successful. I have students who have been working now 8, 9 years, right? I have people who have been in the game 5 years. I have students of every age gap, from different nationalities, right? Across both age, people from whose background is Asia, a lot of African students here in the Americas, right? So many people from different backgrounds. And so it's not necessarily a product of where you're from, what you are, your age. I have, even last week I was speaking to an older gentleman. He was 57, and he reached out and said, now I'm interested in getting into tech. I have my business back home, my family, and he had this situation going on without getting into all of the details. But he was ready to start earning in dollars. He wanted to get into the workforce here, and he wanted to acquire a skill that would help him, make that transition, begin to. And so someone had said, hey, speak to Nnamdi and he'll put you through and talk to you about what he does. And so I was having a conversation with him, and I could see the passion and the readiness he had. And he was 57. So it's not an age barrier thing. Age is not a barrier to getting into tech. Your mind is still working. Your mind is sound, and that's really what you need. All right, so it doesn't. I'm telling you, I can give, if you go on our website or if you go on our YouTube, you see reviews and stories of people just across all categories of people who have made that jump into, a career in information technology. And so all of those beliefs, all of those limiting beliefs that you have, they're not valid. You're convincing yourself on why you should not make or start. Right, this new year, don't hold yourself back. And that's my big push here, right? And I'll tell you, if you feel like, hey, coding is the problem, or writing coding is not the gatekeeper to getting into tech. Your inability to write code is not the gatekeeper for you or preventing you from getting into a career in information technology. The technology or tech jobs in 2026 are not coding dependent. A lot of them are not. There are some that are operations heavy. There are some that are leadership and coaching heavy. And there are some that are even maybe more scripting heavy, right? We have a whole, and I mentioned this earlier, a whole set of opportunities called no code development roles right now. With the advancements in artificial intelligence, there are so many roles. I was in a workshop with, here in Atlanta last week, and under my nonprofit, the African American Collective, and we were with a leading financial services organization here in the Atlanta area, and we were having conversations with some of their staff around their day-to-day responsibilities. And I was talking to the software engineer people, and one of the gentlemen who is a software engineer, we were asking about the impact of artificial intelligence and his job in terms of ability to deliver code and all of that. And his first thing was like, man, I start on AI. Like, the first draft of every code or every application I deploy is built on Copilot, right? And so you hear things like that. That is, you can go through a career building applications and never have to write any piece of code in 2026. That's crazy how the world has evolved, right? If you look at some of the core skills that we dwell on here at NSTAR Technology, like our database administration program, you're not writing any code. You're not doing any object oriented programming or any of those things. Yes, you do need to understand SQL, but SQL is a scripting language. It is not a coding language. So the scripting language, basically, it's instructions that talk directly to the data to get it to do certain things. So you are manipulating data. You are not building platforms per se, right? That's what you do with an SQL, and if you look at and study SQL a little bit, you would see that it is very close to the English language. It literally is, with some keywords and special case scenarios and all of that, in terms of how you frame your commands, it's basically English. Right. And so coding is not stopping you from becoming a database engineer, database administrator. Our Scrum Master program for people who are looking to get into agile and project management and leadership, all of that is dependent not on any tech, any coding, any fancy coding. You are working, it's literally leadership, it's servant leadership, it's organizational skills, it's leveraging platforms to stay organized and helping engineers stay on target, deliver on time. It's communicating with stakeholders, product people, all of that. So that's what you're doing in this role. And it's a tech role, right? You're delivering software, you're delivering platforms, you're delivering tools without having to write any piece of code, right? Data operation, same thing. There's so many of those roles that are very independent of any kind of coding. So coding is not what is stopping you from getting into tech. It's not what will stop you. That era and season is behind us now. All right. So it's not. What exactly are organizations looking for in 2026? The first one is problem solving, right? Your ability to identify an issue and then go through the steps to identify what's the root cause of this issue and how to solve it, what the likely solutions are. Problem solving is going to be an in demand. It's something they look for. What is your approach? What is your mindset in identifying issues, in making processes better, all of that? That's a key skill. Again, it is not technical, it's more a soft skill. Another one people value too much, and this is one that prior to more recently wasn't a big requirement to be in tech, because the focus for us in the tech space was the tech skills. Right now, it's not the case. And so people who are able to communication is a game changer. From getting the job to becoming or excelling at the job, your ability to communicate, oral communication, written communication, fluency in taking core technical concepts and breaking it down into very understandable information to the non-technical person, it's going to be a superpower for you, right? So people who are excellent in communication will do well in 2020 in tech in 2026. People who can speak clearly, first of all, you're likely going to land a job a lot faster with in your interviews, but also advancing and growing within an organization. Being able to communicate is going to be a big it's going to be a big skill that you need to have to get to that next step. And then systems thinking, so important to, you're not thinking in terms of tools but systems, right? How everything works together. Those are the things that organizations value in 2026. That is what will get you ahead of the game. That is what will get you and land you that first job. Yes, you need to still know your SQLs. You need to still understand what exactly the roles and requirements to be a Scrum Master is. You still need to understand, core concepts and the language and all of that. But it's no longer where you have to write 1,000 lines of code or you're not supporting 10,000 lines of code. You're not doing any of that anymore. And so your job is now it's beyond hands-on technician approach. You're an engineer in most of these roles where you are having that design thinking, where you are more on the how does everything work well together? How do we ensure that this is delivered properly? How do we ensure customer experience is ideal, right? It's systems thinking, it's design thinking. Those are the things that help you land and keep a job, that will help. Those are things that will help you land and keep a job in this year. All right. So your belief system is super important, right? It's no longer just about the tech, because the tools are changing, right? The tools change faster than your mindset. Your belief system matters more. These technologies, they are evolving constantly. There's new versions of every platform you learn today. Okay, and so if we're to keep up with all of the tech, it's constantly evolving. What matters more is your mindset, is your belief system. It's I can do this. And that's what will drive you to stay on top of the game, stay on top of your technology in your chosen area of expertise. It's what will drive you to put in the work. It's what will drive you to push yourself. It's what will drive you to stay in the game, right? You have to believe. If that's the first place this starts. And that's why this is the first live series I'm doing, or this is the first live recording I'm doing this year. And so I want to start from here. Your belief system matters. right? You have to believe that, I believe it's Henry Ford that said, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're correct. So you are the only one who can stop you in 2026. If making a career change into information technology is your goal this year, then you need to believe you. It starts with saying, yes, I can. And so here's a few things that that might be blocking your opportunity. Can I want you to reflect on these things as we talk about this, right? I'm trying to, even if this is sounding not too technical and very motivational, please, the goal is, this is super important. Don't skip this. Don't click out of this because you're looking for, no, I believe this is super important. The first, belief trap people run and fall into is this is not for me trap, right? You are excluding yourself without even trying. You are disqualifying yourself. You are saying no to yourself before anybody says no to you. Before any interviewer, before any recruiter says no to you, you're saying no to yourself. And that is unfair to you, right? That is wrong. You are not giving yourself an opportunity. The moment you say this is not for me, you disqualify yourself. And now it's not on anybody. It's not on the system. It's on you, because you didn't even take a shot, because you didn't even take the chance. You didn't even start. You didn't even venture. So you never got to discover how well you could or could not have done if you had started. All right. So that's a big belief trap. The other trap is the I need everything first trap. You're waiting for perfection. You're waiting for everything to line up. You're waiting to have the money to pay for the course, all of it. You're waiting to find the right program, or the perfect school. You are overthinking your choice of, okay, where do I go take the class? Who's going to train me? Okay, I need somebody who is going to do da 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 da. Like, you have a whole massive checklist and you're waiting for the perfect situation, and time is passing. Okay, you have to move. If you're serious about making a career change, then you have to move quickly. Again, like I mentioned before, the technology is constantly evolving, and it's evolving fast. Opportunities are shifting constantly. And so you need to dive in and make the most of the season. The good thing is, the best thing about tech is, once you're in, it's easy to move with the wave. It's easy to say, you know what, I feel like I want to explore this a little bit more. Now you have access to more resources, you have access to a better network, and you're coming from a place of expertise. You can see, okay, how is what I'm doing going to translate to what I'm trying to do, right? And so instead of waiting for perfection, start, right? Start. The other belief trap that people fall into is the I'll figure it out alone trap, right? This is the big one, because people think, like, you know what, I can YouTube my way into a job in tech. I can watch YouTube videos into a six-figure job in information technology, even though I have no tech experience, I have no tech background, I have no prior training in tech. That is remarkable. That is incredible. Kudos to you. Every career path that is high paying, considered high income, it requires some kind of training. It requires some kind of mentorship, right? Are you going to get valuable information on YouTube? Yes. Are you going to get information that will get you started, that maybe paints a picture for you? Yes. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm providing information to, every week. If you listen to what I talk about long enough, you're going to learn a thing or two about SQL. You're going to learn a thing or two on how to interview. You're going to pick up a few, your resources and information around how to set your resume up and how the world of work looks like. You're going to learn a few, things around what to say during interviews, right? If you watch long enough, you're going to learn a few things. If you're watching so many people, you're going to learn things from different people. The challenge with that is, it is not structured to where you're trying to go. It is not, there's no map that is trying to get to the destination that you are aspiring towards. And that's dangerous, because how long is it going to take for you to put all these pieces together? How fast are you really going to move? How do I manage simulations, and hands-on experience? How do I navigate all of that? Right. And so it's trying to figure it out alone is a trap. Okay, I've seen this several times where people come like, hey, Nam, I just got this course on Udemy and I just want to watch and learn. And I think, and that's even better than the person who is just randomly looking for YouTube videos, right? But even those courses without, again, proper infrastructure around what exactly the world of work is looking for, right? Without hey, this is what happens at work. Somebody's showing you and saying, hey, this is how it looks. This is what to expect. It's going to massively extend your process. So you don't have to go through this by yourself. right? There are communities, there are platforms. Here at NSTAR Technologies, our whole mission is to hold your hands through this process and ensure that you're supported through the process and beyond. Right? We have programs to keep working with our students, even beyond regular training. And so it's important that you, even if you're not doing business with NSTAR Technologies, still don't try to do this with no help. That's fine. If you have people who are already in the game, let them mentor you, let them show you the ropes, let them show you, allow you look over their shoulder if that is possible. If not, find the resources and connect to credible institutions, again, like NSTAR Technologies, that have a track record of working with people and helping them get into careers in information technology. Professional training, career training is required. It's necessary. It's going to expedite your process. It's going to steer you away from mistakes and show you exactly what the world of work, or what the workplace looks like, what to expect. Right. And so it's so important that we, have this in mind. What next? What do I do? Right? How do I change this outcome? Again, your belief will not change by motivation alone. I can dance and scream and do all of those things on this session, on this call, in this recording, but that's not all you need, right? If you are serious about changing your mindset, if you're serious about, making changes, then it starts with putting structure in place to ensure that you are moving in the direction of what you are declaring, right? If you're declaring, this is the year I'm going to get into tech. The next thing is, what structure am I putting in place? Whether it is structure around your preparation and study, networking, connecting to resources, systemize all of that. Okay, and then you start changing your belief system around, just exposing yourself to more information, exposing yourself to networks, exposing yourself to resources, right? The more you know, the more things become clear, right? The more uncertainty becomes certain, the more reality, you begin to understand what's possible. Okay. And so it starts with exposure. If I have never been outside of Atlanta, I don't know how beautiful LA is, right? To me, Atlanta is the best city in the whole world until you go to like an LA and see the mountains and all of those things. I love Atlanta more than I do LA. I need to clarify that. LA is nice. I love the LA comes to mind because I was having a conversation with a dear friend yesterday about Los Angeles and what we loved about it, and the weather and the beautiful landscape and all of those good things. But yeah, I'll choose ATL. Even ATL traffic is better than LA traffic. LA traffic is terrible. I digress. But exposure. If I had never left, right? If I did never left Nigeria and came to the US, all my impression about the US would be what I saw in the movies. And we all know that that is all curated, and there's more to the country than what we see in the movies, right? And so the same thing. What's possible for you as a career changer is limited if until you expose yourself to more, expose yourself to other career changers, other networks, other people who have come from a non-technical background and gotten into tech. Where do I find these people? Connect with them. Show up for, we have our career accelerator live events that will be coming up by the end of the month. There's networking events on Meetup where, for people who are looking to get into tech, show up in those places, the ones closest to you, meet people, shake hands, right? And then just make sure you are making progress in the direction of your decision, if that makes sense, right? So it's build systems and then ensure that you are moving forward. Okay. The people that I've seen become successful, you know, after going through all of these years working with so many students, the ones who have become successful is they commit before they are confident, right? You have to jump. You have to be like, you know what, this is the year I'm doing this. And then you go ahead and start. I have been privileged to make shifts in my career, shifts in business, and getting into entrepreneurship as well. And there hasn't been any point where I had all the answers. There hasn't been any time. I got into a fellowship. I didn't even know, like, you know what, I'm just going to apply for it. And I got selected for that fellowship. I've gotten into programs. I've gotten into different things, but it's like, I just believed I could do this. Okay, I want to make it different, and I want to create an ecosystem for Africans to thrive. I knew nothing about nonprofits, and I'm talking about my other business as a nonprofit founder. And if you're an African, make sure you connect with African American Collective. I digress. But it was a product of, I saw a need, I was passionate to, I wanted to make a difference. And so I went and started, and then I started looking, and then before you know it, I've taken the first step, and then the second step, and now we have a thriving ecosystem. Now we are partnering with organizations. Now we are partnering with the government. Now we are doing all of the things. We are doing summits year after year. We're doing conferences. We are doing master classes. We're adding value. But if I never took that first step, none of that will be happening. When I got into database administration the first time, it wasn't something I had experience in. Yes, I came from tech, my training, but anybody who has done this long enough knows when you go to school, you are a generalist. You know a little bit about a lot of things, but you're not specialized in any. I see my friends who are doing something and they say they are database administrators. Let me check it out. What exactly do you do? I have no clue. I think I can figure this out. I start watching videos. I start getting resources. I went to a career training center and I took my savings and I paid in full to get classes. Right? It's about making that commitment. I have made a decision to change my life, change my career path. What are you going to do about it? Commit before confidence. It's the commitments that will give you confidence. Because when you commit, you begin to make the investment in time, in effort, in resources. And that's how confidence grows. And then again, another trait of people who I've seen become successful changing careers, they choose guidance over guessing. Make sure that you are getting proper counsel. Again, even if you don't enroll in an NSTAR program, even if you don't enroll with in any of our courses, please make sure you are getting the right guidance. Make sure that somebody is holding your hands through the process, at least showing you the ropes. Make sure you're looking over someone's shoulders. Make sure you are part of a community where people are also doing this with you, right? It helps because some days might be difficult where you need somebody to say, you know what, we got this. Okay. And so don't try to do this by yourself. Choose guidance over guessing, and then act before certainty. Like I said, commit before confidence, act before certainty. I don't quite know it. I've had students who, even while we're in class, they weren't quite sure of everything else. But when I said, hey, let's start applying for jobs, they went for it. They went crazy. The people that have that desperation and then don't give a damn about what anybody says or how they mess up in interviews, those are the ones who become successful. The ones who are like, you know what, Namde, I don't even know what I'm going to say. I don't even know if I'm ready for this interview, but I'm going to apply anyway. Check in a few weeks, those guys are employed. Right? The ones who are like, you know what, I'm not quite sure whether I'm ready for this or not, but I know I want the change. I know I can't continue like this. I know I can't keep working hard and earning this amount. I think I deserve more, and I'm going to make that commitment. I want to sign up today. Those are the people who become successful. You're not certain, but you're willing to take a step. You're willing to shoot, right? That's how you make a change. It's about taking that first step. It's about taking that first step. I am reminded of the story of Peter in the Bible. For people of faith, you're familiar with this story. When him and the disciples were in a boat and they saw Jesus walking on water because he had left. Again, there's so much of a backstory. So he had left them the day before, went ahead. He was walking towards them in the boat. There were storms everywhere. He was walking towards them on water. And people were like, who is that? That's a ghost. And Jesus like, nah, that's me. And Peter goes, well, if it is you, bid me come. Again, and Jesus said, it is I, come. And Peter, without looking, without being sure if this was a good or bad idea, without being sure what if it wasn't him? What if it wasn't Jesus? And I was going to just step into the water and drown. But he took the first step. And he ended up walking on water. The way to walk on water is to take the first step. If you're going to change the trajectory of your career, your life, then the first step is walking into uncertainty. You have to step on the water and then you figure it out. There's something called sink or swim. You have to be at that point where, you know what, I got to do something about my situation. And in this new year, I hope that's how you feel. And that's, for us, we believe in people who take that first step. We want to be that bridge to your destination. We do our best to ensure that you get there. But again, take the first step. Even if it's not with us, you still have to. I want you to come back to this video and say, hey, man, I was inspired to move, right? I was inspired to jump into this. I was inspired to go ahead and pay my initial deposit for that class. Okay, so it's what are some, things you need to do to reframe your career path, right? What are some things, what are some things you need to do? So I'll give you three questions to reframe your career path. And I want you to reflect on these questions. The first one is, what belief is stopping me from starting? All right, what is stopping me from starting? What have I told myself that is stopping me from starting? Now, some people are generally don't have resources and all of that. That's fine. It's still not stopping you. You know, you can still go make connections. You can still take steps. You can still go for meetups. You can still start connecting with people. You can still start checking people out on LinkedIn and connecting and asking questions, right? What belief is stopping you from starting? Okay, it's the money, it's the foundations. I already told you about people without tech backgrounds who are killing it today in tech, right? So what belief is stopping me from starting? Ask yourself that question and answer it. Is that really valid? Is that really enough? I don't think this is for me. I don't think this is for young people. I'm too old for this. My time is past. My window is past. Is that what you're telling yourself? What is stopping you from taking that first step? Right. The other question I want you to explore and reflect on is, if coding was not the barrier, what part will I explore? If we took coding out of the equation, what would I do? Would you love to build applications or build apps if there was no coding requirement? What part would you explore? Would you want to get into DevOps? Would you want to do cloud, something with the cloud, with AWS or Azure, right? Would I get into cloud and do some, cloud architecture, design, any of those things? Would I get into artificial intelligence if coding was not a challenge? If coding wasn't a barrier, which career path would I explore? And then who could help me move faster with less fear? Right, write down these questions. Who could help me move faster? Who do I know? Who have I seen their programs? Who have I seen on YouTube that do I think could help me move faster towards my destination, my desired destination, without fear? All right, so ask yourself these questions and then write this down. Right, write down these questions and think on these things. Okay, think on them. All right, so again, we are facing a pivotal moment, right? A new year is upon us. Another new year is upon us. It's time. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, actually, in church, and we were talking about how the market seems to have opened up, right? There's more people receiving calls for database engineering jobs, DBA jobs, general tech jobs in general. I feel like companies have gone through that. A lot of organizations have gone through that initial AI adoption phobia or not. And so they know where they stand and they know what they are looking for skill set wise. And you see that a lot of the traditional tech roles are still very much alive. So everybody, all of the people peddling fear around how jobs will be lost, and no, people are figuring out how to work with AI as a partner, and not a competitor or replacement. There's always going to be, and I've done a series on this before. I've done a video on this. AI is a partner, is someone you work with, is a teammate, not somebody replacing your job. There will always be need and space for that human engagement. There will be decisions that will always require a human to explore options in front of you. All right, so it's something where the market is picking up, the jobs are coming back out. There's endless opportunities in the job market. Get on LinkedIn, get on Google, get on Indeed, get on Dice, and just type in any job titles, tech related, that you want to explore, and see what it's looking like. Right? See what the market. Don't do this. Don't do this based on sentiment. Do it based on data. Right? Do some investigation. Look at the job numbers and see. Okay, what is it looking like? And if it feels like that's heading in a direction it should, then take the first step, take the next step rather. Okay, so again, I've said a few things, and as I get towards wrapping up this conversation, if this is something that you feel like, man, this was for me, or I'm going through this right now, then that's great. You are at that awareness stage. That's where you are. Okay, so I want to invite you again. We'll be having an career accelerator live. The link might be in the description of this video. If not, you can send us an email, info@nstartechnologies.com, and we'll get you some information. We should have a free guide again in this, go ahead and download it as well. And if you want to speak with somebody from our team, you can book a call. There's going to be that link to book a call to have a conversation, to explore what options and what you're trying to do and how we can partner with you to get this done. All right. I'll close with this thought. The biggest shifts don't happen or they don't start with skills. They start with permission. They start with permission. It just starts like I give myself permission to go have a successful year. All right. So thank you very much for hanging with me. Again, this is the first one of many. We'll be back and we'll be doing this in our regular schedule every Saturday, I believe. So I look forward to seeing you next Saturday and continue the conversation. Until then, God bless you. And let's stay workforce ready. I'll talk to you soon.